I'm still confused a little bit. You said earlier, maybe I misunderstood, it's kind of a complex issue, that there would have to be some kind of a vote of the people in that area to then come in. And I'll just give you my scenario. We live to the south of the jail area, out towards Fish River, which is not in the city limits. And let's just say that the jail area was brought into the city limits of the city of Fairhope, which is where my daughter is currently in first grade. She would no longer be in the city limits. So, would the people of that area have to vote and agree, or is it totally a negotiation between the city of Fairhope and? I thought I understood you earlier saying there would have to be a vote in that area.
All right, there are two different issues here. All right, well, actually, we talked about annexation, which is based on getting. I'm sorry.
Can't hear you. Thank you.
And you're correct to admonish me. We're talking about getting legal control of a building site to administer. All right? And I've said there are only two ways to do that. One, it is annexed, which is a city council action, doesn't relate to the school board. They have no authority to do it. If it becomes a part of the city and there's a city school system, the City Board of Education will run it. Now, if that occurs, who may attend that school? Number one, every resident of the city. That includes the current corporate boundaries and whatever area was annexed in the future. First. Then, that's legal entitlement. The second stage is, could the City Board of Education work an agreement to let other students come? Yeah, they could do it if you were already enrolled there until you graduate. Or we could just say, anybody who's ever been there, you can come there, and your brothers and sisters and second cousins. All right, the family tree. But that's a board decision, and it would be predicated on, well, if these kids come, will the county provide the resources that should go with those kids? And nobody can answer that question yet. That's a county board. Now, the other way is the city appoints a board of education. The board achieves financial separation 2 years. This means it has full legal standing to receive taxes and to act in matters of taxation. Then the Fairhope Board could sit down with whomever is the Baldwin County Board at that time and say, look, you take all of that feeder pattern and you call that a territory and you define it. And you and I agree that we're going to the county commission and take them a map, plotting of all of this, and say, we want to have a vote that tax district area will be co-joined at the hips to the city tax area, and you'll have one big tax district for school purposes, but you're not a part of the city, but you're the city school system. If you get a positive vote on that, I would think at least 3 to 4 years down the road it would take, then every child that lives in that co-joined district would have a legal right to attend any Fairhope City school forever until something else changes. That would not then be a justiciable action between the Baldwin County Board and the Fairhope City Board. It would have been done by vote and recorded on the records. Guys, that's tough.
And do it after you call for separation. Then the school board, you have to negotiate with the school board over that school, and they could charge you fair market value for it, and not just what the debt is on it.
Is that even forming a city school board? I mean, do you need to, is it best to annex before you form a city school
Yes,
board?
always.
But I guess you're talking about the school property itself.
School property itself.
But we're talking about the surrounding area that feeds that school is still not city property. So how does that?
Right, but
how
if
does-
you decided you wanted the feeder pattern to come into the city of Fairhope schools, and you make that, you're probably better at this than I am. You make that negotiation with the county, then that school we'd have to buy that school or pay whatever that negotiated rate is.
I understand that from the school, but I'm talking about all the students that go to that school, most of the students are still outside the city limits. And we're
Yeah,
not
but if you
talking about that.
negotiate to let the feeder pattern come to the city of Fairhope schools, that's where that school, we have a problem with that school being
That
outside the
school
city
would
limits.
still be out, and you would not administer it.
Right.
But I think what she's asking is if we do get the school, those students would still be allowed to go to that school and follow the feeder pattern. Is that
If
what
you're
you're
outside the city limits.
Yes, if they're outside the
If you negotiate and get the feeder pattern in the city limits, school system.
Let me do one thing. Remember, all of these decisions are not one-sided. The Baldwin County Board has got to be a willing partner because money has got to come with kids. So this board, as created, even though they have every good intention of following through in 2 years and doing X, Y, and Z, the county board could totally scuttle it. So it's hard to get any guarantees right now.
County or city system, why would we not go ahead and annex J. Larry Newton School now?
As a city council issue.
Well, the main reason is the Baldwin County Board of Ed will have to want to annex it, and it would have to be contiguous, means it abuts the city limits somewhere, and it does not. So otherwise, then you have to go to the state legislature and ask them to annex it on behalf of Baldwin County Board of Ed for us. And I don't know, I haven't had those conversations with the Board of Ed about annexing J. Larry Newton.
Harvey, when you did your demographics and you looked at the income, do you know where the income comes, whether it comes from retirement or jobs? Did you look at that?
Per capita income.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's Census Bureau information.
Because 35 to 40% of Fairhope are retirees and were on fixed incomes.
Well,
Well, that's just a point of information.
you also have a senior property tax exemption that nobody else in the state has, and you're shorting the whole rest of the state because your property tax yields a special exemption that nobody else has. There's no solution to that question.